All right, guys, vice presidential debate, rapid reaction. It's 10:30 on the East Coast. I just finished watching the debate. I have my notes right here in front of me. So the first question of the night was about Iran, and she asked the candidates, would you approve a Israel retaliation strike on Iran? And really neither candidate answered this question. Tim Walz spoke first. He went on for a bit, and then eventually started talking about Trump, which was kind of a mistake in his part. I think Trump's particular strong point right now is the Middle East, so bringing up Trump in the first minute there was not a very good look, especially when Harris is the VP right now. And then JD Vance did this weird thing with his introduction. The first minute was him introducing himself and then getting on to the question. It was fine. I don't think that hurt to introduce yourself, but it's really kind of just filler in there. People wanted the questions answered. That's the biggest thing about debates. And then they went to immigration shortly after that. And I think JD Vance had some good points here about wages, how more people coming into the country will lower the wages and create less jobs and stuff. I think that was a pretty good point there. Tim Walz was a bit shaky here in the beginning. As you can see, I was watching the trend line for the betting odds during the debate, and JD Vance shot up in the first 10 minutes. He did very well. And about 30 minutes in, Walz started to kind of peel it back, do a lot better, and it kind of leveled off towards the end there. But I think, JD Vance's first 15 minutes were very strong, talking about the Middle East, inflation, immigration, and he brought up this sex trafficking thing, which was huge because the moderators asked about child separation and families, and JD Vance brought up sex trafficking. 300,000 kids lost right now, separated from their parents. Now, in terms of visual persuasion between the candidates, if you prefer the emotions, the expressions, that's Tim Walz. If you like the more rigid debate team style, that's more JD Vance. And he got into it with the moderators for a little bit there. He got into he was talking about the asylum thing with Kamala Harris in Ohio, and he was talking beyond his 2 minutes or whatever, and the moderators were cutting him off. They cut his mic off, and it got a bit heated there for a moment. And then Tim Walz had a few good minutes there. It went on to abortion, which Tim Walz did very well on, much better than JD Vance. He did a lot better than Trump did in the last debate, but it was not a winning issue for JD Vance there. Same with guns. JD Vance was very weak on this one. He was kind of laughing, smiling awkwardly when talking about, fortifying the schools and I have kids in my school. It was just a very weird thing. That is definitely a losing issue for the GOP. That was a rough one, but that was after an hour into the debate. So really, the first 30 minutes are so important. They hit the big topics there, but I would say Tim Walz did much better in the second half than the first half. Walz had one bad moment when they asked him about the protests in China or whatever. I haven't followed that, but he tried to play it off as something he's a knucklehead or whatever. He quoted himself I'm a knucklehead. I have bad moments. That was a very, very weak moment for him, but he recovered pretty well after that. But overall, that's really it. The first hour was most of the meat and potatoes. The last 30 minutes are whatever, talking about other stuff. But really, most people pay attention to the first hour before that first commercial break is really when the most viewership is there. It's getting later on the East Coast. Who would I say won the debate? I think it's a tale of two halves. I think JD Vance probably won the first half. Tim Walz won the second half. Call it a draw. I don't think it changes the race very much at all. It's 50-50. We'll see polls come out here in an hour or so, but really, I would say this is a total wash. Guys, that's really it for this one. Vice presidential debate, the final debate of the election cycle this year. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. Bye.